During 2020, we saw decisions that put into motion a set of actions that looks like will continue into 2023, as we are now seeing Russia is likely to buy yuan on its foreign exchange market in 2023. But it doesn't just stop with Russia and China, as we're seeing China and Saudi Arabia now in talks to deepen their relationship. Now, some of this is nothing new. Take, for instance, the fact that the yuan currently accounts for 17% of Russia's foreign exchange and gold reserves. But some of this is showing signs of new trends beginning, both financially speaking and geopolitical alliances. Take, for instance, the amount of dollar-ruble volume that used to occur on Russia's exchanges. You can see that in the beginning of 2022, the dollar-ruble volume exploded, and then as soon as the sanctions hit, when Russia invaded Ukraine, obviously that volume dropped off a cliff. But slowly, the yuan-ruble volume has made up for it, and at certain points has even surpassed it. Now, Russia historically has had massive foreign exchange reserves, as they typically run budget surpluses. And during 2023, if they get the oil and gas revenues that they expect, they'll use that to buy yuan. It hasn't done so this year because they're currently on course for a 2% deficit. Compare that against the United States budget deficit, which is currently for 2022 hit $1.3 trillion. Which, while it has recovered from 2020 and 2021, is still at the depths of 2009 levels. In percentage terms, that's about 20% of total government expenditures and about 5.5% of GDP. Now, obviously, Putin and Xi are buddies here, and Russia has outright called the yuan a friendly currency. In fact, of all of their friendly currencies, they said the yuan is the friendliest currency so far. Basically, any country that hasn't joined the West with sanctions, Russia considers friendly. And being friendly to countries specifically because of their business relationships and having no concern over what the country does with its internal policies or politics is something that China is increasingly known for, which is why Saudi Arabia may be turning more and more towards China soon instead of the US. Recently, Xi visited Saudi Arabia for 3 days. During this visit, they signed agreements about trade, technology, and military cooperation. While these recent developments mark an improvement in their relationship, this isn't something out of nowhere. They've been improving their relationship for years. Going from 2020 to 2021, China's trade with Saudi Arabia increased 39%. This is causing concern for some people around the world that the dollar might be soon on its way out, as the petro yuan could be used for international transactions involving oil. Now, as I always say, these things take a long time to unfold, and what you'll see is signposts along the way pointing to what the future might look like, and we are constantly seeing a steady drip of these types of signposts happen over and over and over again, and they're increasingly happening at a more and more frequent pace over the last few years. And the more and more of these events and little signposts that we see, the more other countries will also take notice and think to themselves, hey, if this is potentially the way the world is going, I might need to have a backup plan myself, which will absolutely lead more countries to explore backdoor relationships with other countries so that they don't get sanctioned, but just in case they have a way out. It'll lead central banks to store up assets like gold that cannot be sanctioned by countries like the United States. And the future of the global financial system could look very different than it looks today. But the obvious takeaway here, at least for me, is that if it's worth it for countries to start looking for ways to hedge themselves against sanctions, against the US saying, hey, you can't use our dollars anymore, then it's even more necessary for individuals like you and me to hedge ourselves. And finally, if you're going to be traveling anywhere near Arizona at the end of January, I will be speaking at Jason Hartman's Empowered Investor Live Conference in Scottsdale from January 27th through the 29th. I'd love to see you there. You can get your tickets with the link in the description below. As always, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.